And later in the programme, the UN's Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, much more successful than the previous one at the G20. Welcome back. Well, I don't know about you, but I am constantly misplacing my deceased relatives. That's why I was thrilled to learn this week that Sydney's Rookwood Cemetery is now on Google Maps, allowing the public to navigate their more than 1 million interments using a GPS tracker to locate the exact grave you're looking for. Wow. What a time to not be alive. Apparently, Rookwood Cemetery is the oldest, largest and most multicultural working cemetery in Australia. Working cemetery? I would have thought any cemetery where the bodies stay in the ground is working. Anyway, I'm looking forward to trying out this new grave map next time I'm in Rookwood. Hopefully there's an option to help avoid those pesky for whom the bell tolls.
Coming up next, everyone's a winner on Millionaire Hot Seat, followed by My Kitchen Violates Rules. Then find out how many hours you'll get this week at your insecure casual job with an all-new 20 to 1. And finally, this time next year.
Very important breaking news. The Whyalla City Council is calling for information after thieves stripped a public amenity of its solar panels, lights and 2 deep-cycle batteries. Sergeant Max Payne, have you been able to shed any light on the situation?
None at all, Shaun. We, and indeed anybody who uses the toilet, are completely in the dark, particularly at night.
Any structural damage?
No. Fortunately, the public toilet is built like a brick shithouse. But if anybody does have any information about the missing solar panels, please contact Crime Stoppers.
And the batteries?
They will be charged.
News from countries that aren't Australia.
To Tucson, Arizona first, and who can see what's wrong with the cactus in this picture? Yes, that's right, it's not wearing a seatbelt. Apparently...
The cactus went through the windshield and ended up halfway into the passenger side of the car. Amazingly, only minor injuries were reported.
Now, hopefully, the self-sacrifice of this cactus serves as an example to the rest of the environment to stand up for itself instead of relying on us to do it all for them. If just 1 in every 100 succulents did this just once a day, they would drastically reduce the number of carbon-emitting vehicles on the road. To Norway now, where residents of some island there want to abolish the concept of time during the summer months and get rid of traditional business hours and conventional timekeeping. We should do that here. Great for small business. No time means no overtime, no time off, no free time, no hourly rates, no minutes from meetings to review. And once time is gone, it'll be very difficult to reinstate because how are opposing groups going to schedule a protest? Of course, you have to feel for the Norwegian clock industry, but fortunately for them, existing clocks will be grandfathered. Also, more bad news for the environment. As scientists find, it's been snowing microplastics in the Arctic, apparently transported there by winds. Yet another reason we need a fresh inquiry into these bloody turbines. Indian restaurants in Australia are said to be the best in the world, but the cost of being the best comes at a price. Case in point, a certain Canberra restaurant next door to the Department of Home Affairs, who recently told their staff of migrant workers that they had to buy their own sick and holiday leave or their visas would be cancelled. Wendell Vestibule, you worked at that Indian restaurant for a time, didn't you?
That's right, Shaun. I did. I worked there for 12 months and thus was entitled to purchase 4 weeks of annual leave. But unfortunately, in order to be able to do that, I had to spend those 4 weeks working at another restaurant so that I could afford to pay the original restaurant not to work there.
So you didn't get any time at all off during your annual leave?
Oh, well, as they say, Shaun, a change is as good as a holiday.
And was it?
Sadly, no. The old adage proved erroneous, and I became so run down while working at that second restaurant that I needed to take a sick day. But I hadn't worked there long enough to accrue any.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
But fortunately, then the owner of the restaurant very generously let me buy a sick day from them.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Now, sadly, in order to afford that sick day, I had to spend that same day doing a one-off shift back at the original restaurant, off the books, cash in hand.
Your cash in their hand.
That's right.
Wendell, you're not a refugee.
No.
And as an Australian citizen born in this country, you don't have a visa.
That is correct.
Why then on earth are you doing this?
Because, Shaun, I strongly believe that the best form of welfare is a job.
Still to come, drone strikes, will they lead to better pay and conditions?
I'm sick of the tokenism. I'm sick of hearing it. And I said to these mayors and councillor, I said, I'm Indigenous. I was born here. This is my land. We will be treated equally. We will work towards all the problems and issues. But I said, I'm sick and tired of being classed as a second-grade citizen in my own country.
Right again. Obviously, Pauline belongs in the first grade. Anyway, Pauline was talking about science last week, criticising the government's approach to climate change.
They can't produce the evidence to say that it is humans with CO2 that is causing this global change. Let's look at the sun, the environment. Let's look at the real scientific facts.
It's a good point and well made, although if we do look at the sun first, the retinal burn may make it hard to see those real scientific facts afterwards. Pauline then went on to underline the importance of
imperial evidence, as Malcolm Roberts always says.
Exactly, you've got to look at the imperial evidence. None of this metric stuff the inner-city latte-sipping UN keeps going on about from their fancy-pants French-speaking Brussels. And it's great to see one nation leading by example. They will always put their foot in their mouth, never 30.48 centimetres. And finally, the PM took some time out from holding press conferences to speak to the media this week, and when asked about Mark Latham's return to politics, said...
Mark Latham, it's a bit like The Bachelor. He's been handing out roses to the Labor Party, to the Liberal Democrats, and now he's handing out one to One Nation. Who knows who he'll go home with?
Good one. Although, if anything, a TV show where women gradually leave disappointed is really more like the Liberal Party. Goodbye.